Welcome to upcoming juniors and sophomores and even freshmen. I'm Rebecca Thompson. I'm one of the guidance counselors at Basha High School. This program was originally intended to help our new juniors to access all of the different options we have at Basha and to learn how to navigate through the last 2 years of high school and how to get into college. We do recognize that many freshmen and sophomores are also curious, so we do welcome this program to them as well. We have 6 counselors at Basha High School. We do split up by alphabet. For instance, Ms. Spilsbury is in charge of alphabet with the last name A through CLA. Then we have Mr. Perry, Mr. Snyder, Ms. Dillon, Mr. Smith, and myself, Rebecca Thompson. I end up with the last part of the alphabet. Please do refer to your child's last name whenever contacting a counselor, and that way they have all the pertinent information and we can answer your questions as precisely and concisely as possible. Our assistant is Miss Blancarte. She's fabulous. She runs all 6 of our work schedules. So if you can't get a hold of one of us through email or phone message, you can always reach out to her and she'll walk down the hallway and tell us you're waiting to talk to us. Ms. Sagman is our social worker. She's located in C101. She has the Mindful Room. It's a new room on our campus that is designated for students that maybe need to take a little break during their lunch, go in a quiet place, do some meditation. She also will hold different groups in that room. So if your child wants to be a part of a group, she'll have some documents for you to sign that state you're going to permit your child to be in the group, and then she'll get them out of a class and be able to meet with them on a weekly basis. Please follow us on Twitter at Basha Counseling. We do tweet anything we think is important. We'll try never to inundate your Twitter account. You can also locate our website by Googling Basha Bears, clicking on Departments, clicking on Counseling, and then the very first folder you're going to see is called the Overview. I'm actually in charge of our website, so whenever I think anything pertains to all 4 levels, I'll put it on the Overview. And then I want you to click on the folder that has the class that your child is in. So if you have a freshman, you'll click on the freshman folder. If you have a junior, you'll click on the junior folder. We have other folders that would help you understand how to navigate college entrance exams, Impact Scholars, NCAA, tutoring skills, a variety of different folders will be found in there. I do recommend that you bookmark that website and that you access it every 2 weeks. As I think anything is important for a parent or a student to know, we will put it on that website. Each counselor also has their own Google Classroom. Hopefully, we have invited all of the children to their own Google Classroom. Freshmen through seniors have their own. And whenever we think something's important, we're putting it on that Google Classroom. Students will receive an email alert to their GSE account telling them that we have a new stream on our Google account. So hopefully your kids are all getting used to looking at that and to make sure they're checking their email each day. We have a career center where Mrs. Fassinger is in charge. Her actual room is C201. She can be followed on Twitter at Basha Career Center. And she also has a Google Classroom. The code is LRB5UA5. She is enjoying that format more than the website format to upload scholarships. So please follow her Google Classroom for all scholarships. She is located in C201 and she'll be there during all 3 lunches and before and after school for your child to pop in and ask any questions. Graduation requirements. Let's talk about what a child needs to be successful in just to graduate with a high school diploma. They must have 4 credits of English. We do want the students to take freshman English during their freshman year, sophomore English during their sophomore year, and so on. We do not recommend taking English over the summer because in counseling, we disseminate our information generally in the English classroom. So students that don't have an English class, we ask that they contact us on a monthly basis, or they're looking at our website or following our Google Classroom. It's just we do find kids slip through the cracks when they don't have an English class, and they forget to check their Google Classroom for the counselors. For math, all students must get through one level higher than Algebra 2. So they have to have 4 math credits with one level higher than Algebra 2, which is most likely pre-calculus for all the students. Math is always the toughest area, so if students are struggling, we strongly encourage them to get tutoring after school with their teacher. They can also sign up for a peer tutor or an NHS tutor. The tutors can meet with students during school hours up until 3 p.m. They do have to be monitored by an adult. That's why at 3 p.m. the tutoring opportunity does cease. Laboratory science, a student must have 3 lab science credits. The only thing you really need to know here is the only non-lab science we have is honor science research and our agri-science classes. Honor science research would not be taken truly until a child already has 3 lab sciences. So I don't think you really need to worry about that. Agri-science. If a student enters the agri-science program, which is a very, very successful program at Basha, most likely their freshman year they'll have investigative science, which is their physical science. Then sophomore year, they'll have something called Applied Biological Systems, or ABS. That is their life science. Then their junior year, they would take Ag Science 1, followed by their senior year, they'd take Ag Science 2. It's important to note that Ag Science 1 and Ag Science 2 is a combination, all or nothing deal. Once they complete Ag Science 2, they are awarded a full credit of lab science and a full credit of elective science credit. That is how they get their 3rd lab science. For social studies, just for high school graduation, they will need 3 credits. World history is taken their freshman year. American Arizona history is taken their junior year. And their senior year is a combination of 1 semester of government and 1 semester of economics. At any time, a student may decide they want to begin the year with an AP level. We ask that they stay in their AP level for at least 4 weeks so they get past the first initial shock time. Most of the kids will be able to adapt to the AP curriculum, and they'll find that they do enjoy that curriculum. If your child finds that the AP route is too rigorous for them, they are allowed to come see their counselor at the beginning of week 5, and we can see where we can put them into an on-level class. Please do note that it may change your student's schedule around. So there's no guarantee that if they have AP World History Period 1, that we're going to be able to get them into a World History Period 1. All level downs must happen before the 9th week. After the 9th week, we cannot level a student down because we do not want to disrupt any other classes with new students entering them. Career and technical education versus fine arts. For graduation, a student can have 1 credit in either. If they take a full year of a CTE, that works for graduation, or a full year of fine arts, that works. CTE, you can think about it this way. Career and technical education is a skill building class. When they're done, for instance, with culinary arts, which is a CTE and not a fine art, they could be employed at a restaurant with the skill set of learning how to either prepare food or how to handle food or how to even work outside at the hostess station. They'll have their food handler's card. If they want to go, let's say, digital photography, they could get a certification at the end of 2 years, which would make them employable straight out of high school. So CTE is a skill building class. CTE includes agriculture, it includes ROTC, engineering, any of our computer programs, our cyber program. That is different than fine arts, because a fine art would be anything that is art, music, drama, or dance. The art would be anything that is a physical art. They're drawing, they're painting, they're building the stage, scenery and stagecraft for the next play. Another fine art could be music, which can be band, or it can be percussion ensemble, or guitar, or orchestra. It can be dance. We have many levels of dance. Students all try out for any level that's higher than beginning dance. Those are fine arts. We'll take either or. It doesn't have to be both of those to graduate. For foreign language for high school graduation, we do not require any foreign language. We expect every student to master the English language, but not to master a foreign language to graduate from high school. PE, students only need to have 1 credit. That's 1 full year of PE. They can take traditional PE for 2 semesters. They could take 1 semester of PE and 1 semester of weight training. They could take 2 semesters of lifeguarding if they're an experienced swimmer. Usually our kids that are on our swim team will be able to handle the rigor of lifeguarding. They can even do 2 semesters of that. They would just get their certification done in 1 semester, but they can essentially help the instructor then teach the new lifeguards during their 2nd semester, and it can take care of their PE requirement. Some of our students that choose to be in a sport may be invited to join an athletic locker room, and that can also count as their PE that is required to graduate. If they take 3 semesters of ROTC, it's all 3 semesters that must be taken in order to take care of the PE credit. There'll be 1 credit of PE and a half credit of an elective for that route. Same with marching band and percussion after school. Those are 3 semesters, and it's a package deal, all or nothing on that. Comprehensive health is required to graduate. Generally speaking, our sophomores take that class. It is for 1 semester. If you have a student that's in honors, we do strongly recommend they get the comprehensive health credit done during Lip Lab, which is after school Monday or Wednesday, 2:20 to 5:20. It costs $80. Your students sign up with the counselor. It's an excellent idea for freshmen because your freshmen don't drive yet. So you can just tell them, I'll pick you up at 5:20 Monday and Wednesday. And as soon as they're done with the curriculum, then they don't have to keep going Monday and Wednesday after school. It takes most kids right around 3 to 4 weeks if they're working diligently after school in Lip Lab to get health done. So that's 16 and a half required courses that we're going to tell your students what they must take. They get to choose whether or not it's honors or AP or traditional level. The next 5.5 credits are elective courses. The rule of thumb is if your student is passing all 6 courses each year, they will never have to worry about elective courses. For instance, if they're on our football team, the first athletic locker counts for PE credit, but the next 3 years of athletic locker count for 3 elective courses. If they're going to go pre-med when they get to college, we'd strongly recommend 4, 5, or 6 lab sciences. Anything after the 3rd lab science would become an elective lab science. Some of your students want to be mathematicians or actuaries. We recommend 4, 5, or 6 math classes for that. All of the extra math after 4 credits becomes elective. So the total required credits to graduate high school is 22 credits. I will tell you most of our students, because we are a college prep school, will graduate with 24, 25, 26 credits. That's more of the norm for BASHA students. For university entrance requirements, I will speak to Arizona State universities. Whenever you're considering going out of state, it is the student's responsibility to research that school's admissions requirements and make sure that they're adhering to whatever that school is expecting. So for the state of Arizona, each student will have to have 4 credits of English, which is no different than graduation. They must have 4 credits of math, which is 1 math higher than Algebra 2, which again is no different than high school graduation requirements. They must have 3 lab sciences. The university does expect them to have 1 life, which would be a bio or a biotechnology class or a human biology class. They must have 1 physical science, which can be investigative science or chemistry, for instance, and 1 additional science. We already require 3 lab sciences to graduate, so they will be on track for their science requirements for the university in Arizona. If they're going to go pre-med, again, we do strongly recommend they have 4, 5, or 6 lab sciences to be truly considered for the pre-med program at the university. Social studies, we require 3 to graduate, but the university is only going to look at 2 credits. No matter what, they will look at the full year of American Arizona history, and then they will look at whichever grade is higher, world history for freshman year, or the combo semester of government, semester of economics, senior year. When your student fills out their application for the university online, they're going to actually type in the grades they want the college program to consider, because again, it's a computer program that's going to do the initial verification of acceptance. For in-state university requirements, our state does not distinguish between fine arts or CTE. They just have to have 1 credit of either. If you're going to go out of state, it's strongly recommended, especially if you're going to an East Coast school, that it's a fine art credit. Arizona is more progressive than most of the states in the nation. And that is why they recognize the career and technical education credit. Foreign language, students do have to have 2 years of the same foreign language for in-state acceptance. For out-of-state acceptance, we strongly recommend 3 or more years of the same language. Some of your students may have taken Spanish 1 in junior high. In junior high, they call it Spanish 1 in grade 7 and Spanish 2 in grade 8. Please understand, in junior high, that is an equivalent to Spanish 1 at the high school. They just take 2 years to get through the curriculum. If your student is achieving very high A's, and by the end of their freshman year, they know what the teacher is saying when they're speaking Spanish to them, then by all means, they can start in level 2 Spanish. If they do not know that, then I would strongly recommend they repeat Spanish 1 at the high school level to make sure that they've got a good foundation with which to build the foreign language on. I'd also make sure you understand that when the kids get accepted to our in-state universities, they will be taking a placement exam in foreign language at the end of their senior year. For students, let's say, that have Spanish 2 freshman year, and then they don't go on with Spanish, when they take that placement exam, there's a strong likelihood they will not pass that placement exam. If they don't pass it, they must enter Spanish 1 or another language level 1 at the university level and do the 2 years at the university level. There's a way around that. Students that take the 3rd level of a foreign language at Basha can sign up for dual credit through Chandler Gilbert Community College. If they successfully complete that 3rd level with the community college by doing dual credit, then they suddenly will have that year's transcript at the college level, which means if they fail that entrance exam, all they have to do is produce their transcript that they have from the community college, and that failing grade will be waived, and they will not have to repeat any foreign language in college. If your student does go through the 4th level of foreign language, we strongly encourage them to get the bilingual certification, which is a test. Generally, I believe it's around the end of February, beginning of March, and their foreign language teacher can help them access the sign-up for that. Obviously, the university doesn't care if your children are physically active, but we do for 1 year at Basha. They also don't care if your children has good hygiene, but we do all 4 years at Basha. We just only require it to be a class for 1 semester. So the university is looking for 16 credits. We lovingly call that 16 core. By the time your senior is a senior, they will know what 16 core means, and they'll know exactly what they need to be looking for. For high school, a passing grade is a D, 60%. For university, a D stands for deficient, so university will not accept a D. They're looking for 70% or better. Please understand that universities that are state universities will require at least a 3.0 to become admitted, or a score of 22 on the ACT exam. It is strongly advised if a student gets a D that they repeat that same course over the summer. Hopefully this next summer we'll have in person again, plus Chandler Online Academy, and your student can get the credits done. We'll have sign-up time for summer school the month of March, and there is a fee. It's generally between $160 and $180 per semester. So once they sign up for it and they pay for it, that is going to be their ticket into the class. When they finish the class over the summer, they are expected to notify their counselor that they have a grade improvement, so their counselor can go in and hand adjust the transcript to take off the lower grade in the GPA and mark the higher grade. Graduation accolades. This has all changed as of the class of 2020. We still do give your students a rope to wear around their graduation garment that will give them the accolades so everyone knows just what they have been able to achieve. We are doing the cum laude system. So you can see on this slide, cum laude is 3.75 to 4.24. That is including weighted GPAs. Magna is 4.25 to 4.49. And Summa, which is the highest praise we can offer, is 4.5 to 5.0. If your student is an athlete, please do not allow them to have any official visits until they are registered with the clearinghouse. You will know when they are registered because you will receive an email from the clearinghouse. You will have paid money to register, and that is when they can actually talk to a coach and perhaps get offered a plane ticket to come see the coach or a dinner or any type of any scholarship offerings. It is important that you understand that a coach can offer whatever they want to your child, but unless your child can become admitted based on the university requirements, it won't matter what the coach offers because the university can't admit the child. So make sure that whatever school your child wants to play for, make sure that their academic rigor will be able to allow them admission into that college. We strongly recommend your child registers with NCAA and NAIA. I do realize that most of your kids believe they're all going to play for a Division I university, but in all actuality, many kids do play at the Division III or Division IV level, and then they move up, and so that's where the NAIA comes into play. Our counselor, Mr. Snyder, will visit the athletic lockers during fourth quarter of their junior year to encourage them to enroll, but please mark this on your calendar so you know to register your child. This is a new career and college search that Mr. Perry, one of our counselors, discovered this year. It's a very user-friendly search. There's no need for a login code, so that means that if a student forgets a login code, they just simply log back in and they don't have to have any assistance trying to recover that code. This can compare up to 4 colleges. You're probably wondering, why would they need to compare 4 colleges? Well, if your child only wants to go to Harvard and to Yale, we want them to consider an in-state, such as U of A or ASU or NAU, and make sure they're understanding the differences. The differences in what the school requires for admission, the difference in what the pay will be, the difference in the demographics, in the living situation, if they're required to live on campus their freshman year, and above and beyond everything else, what the weather is like. Our students in Arizona often go back east and they'll send their little emails to the counselors asking what all the white stuff is and why they're so cold. So make sure your child understands if they're going to a different state, there may be a different climate. It is also imperative that once your child enters the university, they stay there for 4 years. You cannot college hop. You can't go to ASU for 2 years and then suddenly go to UCLA and expect UCLA to recognize anything that was offered in the state of Arizona. Colleges do not play well together. So when a child starts at a school, if they want to graduate in 4 years, they need to finish at that school. If they start at a community college, it is important to make sure the university they want to go to will accept transfer credits from that community college. All of our community colleges have matriculation agreements with all of our in-state universities, and everything is accepted, and I should say everything up to 60, I believe it's 60 or 66 credits is accepted. Above that, nothing is accepted. So don't have your child take just various classes for 3 years at the community college because only 2 years are going to transfer over. Impact College Scholarship. All of our freshmen are requested by their counselors in their Google Classroom, which all of your freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors are invited to join, to register by the end of their freshman year. If they do not register by the end of their freshman year, they are out of the running for these scholarships. When they register, all they're saying is they're going to do their best to maintain 95% attendance all 4 years, and that is cumulative. So if your child has his ACL replaced sophomore year and he misses 20 days, that doesn't mean he's out of the running. It just means he has to have exemplary attendance for junior and senior year to still maintain the 95% attendance. They have to have a cumulative GPA of 3.4 that is unweighted by the end of their senior year. So they may have to retake some classes for grade improvement to make sure they're staying on track for that. And the caveat to this is they must have 100 hours submitted of volunteer service by April 1st of their senior year. In the past, before COVID, the students were expected to get 35 of that 100 hours uploaded into the Impact College database by the end of their sophomore year. This year, there's been a little bit of a grace period on that. They just have to have the 100 hours by April 1st of their senior year. That is potentially subject to change once COVID is over, so make sure you're watching the Impact College Scholarship folder. This folder I'm talking about is on our guidance website. If you Google Basha Bears, and then when you get to our Basha website, click on Departments, click on Counseling, you will see a variety of folders on the left-hand side, one of them being the Impact Scholar. I do strongly recommend parents to view our website every 2 weeks and to encourage your students to pay attention to their Google Classrooms. As we send anything on Google Classroom, your child will get an email in their GSE account, not their personal account, their GSE account. Then we want them to go to our Google Classroom and see what we think is important for them to know. By the time they're a senior, by April 1st of their senior year, if they are judged to be an Impact Scholar, then they are welcome to apply for any Chandler Ed Foundation scholarships. These scholarships come in the form of cash, or some will be deposited directly into the bursar account at the college they're going to go to. These can be used on top of merit scholarships, and I'll be explaining merit scholarships in the next coming up slides. In fact, I'm explaining it now. Merit scholarships, when your child applies for college, they're going to type in their grades that they've achieved in their 16 core classes. From there, a computer program is going to determine whether or not they're going to get a merit scholarship. That means money to attend for their tuition just based on how well they did in their grades in high school. Non-merit scholarships, such as Chandler Ed Foundation Scholarship through the Impact Scholars Program, are scholarships that a child might present a skill or talent, or they might write an essay for it. They might do an advertisement for a milk mustache. They may be a woman that is 5'10" or taller and applies for the Tall Women's Scholarship. There's a variety of different scholarships, and these are all located on Ms. Fassinger's Career Center Google Classroom. So if the students are on that, then they'll be able to see all of the different applications, and we strongly encourage them to apply for many and apply often. AP courses. Why should your child take an AP course? First of all, it is important that we are stressing their rigor in high school. The more we can see how much they can handle in high school, the more likely we'll know if they'll be able to handle moving out of the house to go to college, moving out of the state to go to college, going to an Ivy League or a special entrance requirement for college. If they can get through a bunch of AP courses and do well, we find that those students are very successful their freshman year. What we don't want is for a child to move away from home and call you at the end of the first year saying that college is not for them, and they become a dropout of college. We call that a one-year wonder. We definitely want our students all to be going on to the college they choose and to be successful there, and again, to stay there for 4 years. Because remember, colleges do not play well together, so they cannot college hop. AP exams. We have 37 different exams available. A student does not have to take an AP class to be able to take an AP exam. They will sign up in the fall of the year that they're taking the AP course to take the test in May or April or May. And if they earn a 3, 4, or 5 score, then that can be potential college credit at the college they're going to. It is truly subjective to the college that they want to attend. Harvard will have a very different set of rules than Notre Dame will have. And they'll have a different set of rules than UCLA will have. They'll have a different set of rules than U of A or ASU will have. So whatever classes your child wants to take for AP exams, make sure the college they want to go to will accept it. That college will decide if they need a 3, 4, or 5. If they say they need a 5, that means they won't consider any score that's lower. AP teaches the students how to study, how to read for comprehension, and how to take Cornell notes. They're also big on Socratic seminars. So it is expected when a child's in an AP class to have up to 1 hour of reading per night, and the next day to be called upon to present their reading material in a Socratic form. So it really does help kids get ready for the rigors of college. Any student can sign up for an AP class. It is equal access to all per College Board. I would recommend strongly that if your child can take an honors class the year prior to an AP, that might give them a really good foundation for what is to be expected when they get into the AP course. Dual credit. So dual credit will be offered for a variety of classes. Many of our teachers are dual credit certified. They have their masters in that content. And many of them even moonlight at the college. So the level that they're going to teach their class will meet the level of expectancy that the community college would expect for the class. But they get to take it on our campus. So they're getting, let's say, Chandler Gilbert Community College core rigor, but they're also getting a teacher that's available every single day for assistance, which is not going to be the case when they get on to college. So we really do want kids to try this out for dual credit. With that said, dual credit costs money. And so every time you register for a class, it is important to check with the university your child wants to go to see if they'll accept the dual credit into their field of study. Many of your kids will change their mind on what their field of study is going to be. So that also makes it hard to sign up for dual credit classes. Sometimes you might find that their child signs up for a dual credit course and then the college ends up not wanting to accept it because they want the child to have the class at their college. So sometimes that can be money that is not well spent, but you can think about it this way, it's still a good experience for the child. Some of my top recommendations for dual credit would be AP Language, which is English 101 and 102, or College Prep English, which is the senior year, which is English 101, 102. Another favorite I found that transfers really well is AP Psychology. If your child's going to go into a math career, check with the college first to see if they'll take any of the math dual credit. If they're going to go pre-med, make sure that the college will take any of our extra science classes. If they're going to go into a business program, let's say at ASU, then most likely that business program would take English and a math and a science. So you could really get a lot done in high school as far as what your college is going to require for their program of studies, provided they do not change their program of studies during college. The PSAT is the preliminary SAT, and it is given in October each year. It is decided, the date is decided by College Board and not by the school. The school, Basha, for instance, will pick a Wednesday because we choose to give it during the week. Some schools will pick a Saturday, so it depends on each school what their preference is. Students can sign up for the PSAT in the beginning of the school year. Usually we open the sign up right around the beginning of August and we'll close it the beginning of September. It is generally for a fee of $20. That is truly just to pay for the exam and the processing of the exam with College Board. This is a norm referenced exam for the junior rigor, which means the junior class, when they take it, they're going to be the best prepared for the rigor of the PSAT. If a freshman takes it, please make sure the freshman knows they're being compared with juniors across the nation. So what we don't want is for a freshman to take it, get a low score, and suddenly believe that they're not as intelligent as we know they are. I don't personally recommend freshmen to take it. I do like our honors sophomores to take it in preparation for the junior year. I wish that every single junior would take it because I think it is a great way to prepare for the ACT or the SAT. The ACT changed a few years ago. It's more in alignment with the SAT. Eastern schools seem to prefer the ACT. I prefer the ACT, but colleges that do require one of these tests will take either one. Some colleges are not requiring either. Some are still requiring just a score to be on file. The junior year is when the PSAT counts as the qualifier for the National Merit Scholarship Competition. If a student becomes a National Merit contender, then the counselor at the beginning of the senior year will meet with that senior and will tell them what they need to do to fill out the application. There'll be a part for the counselor to fill out and a part for, I believe, 2 teachers to fill out. And then it goes to a college board, and they will decide if the student indeed wins National Merit Recognition. National Merit Recognition for many universities across the nation will mean full tuition, full room, full board, full books. Some colleges, such as Notre Dame, do want national merits to apply, but they do not give them any money or any assistance financially. But it's still going to be a caveat for them to be accepted into that program. So again, students as young as freshmen can take it. I don't recommend it. Sophomores, I do recommend. Juniors, please have all of your juniors sign up for it. When they do sign up for it, they're going to get a sheet of paper that tells them how to register with College Board. If they do not register with College Board, they're going to be hard-pressed to get their scores. Their scores will become online in about 3 weeks, but we don't get a copy of that score until sometimes 2 or 3 months later. So the kids that remember to register at collegeboard.com will be able to get their scores right away. College entrance exams. So many colleges are starting to have the mindset that they don't need to have any scores. Some still want a score, and some will require a certain score to be admitted or to go into their honors program. So you have to look at each college that your child's interested in going into to see what that college requires. ASU universities used to expect a 1040 on the SAT and a 22 on the ACT. It seems right now they just want to have a score on hand. I don't know if that's going to change post-COVID, so please just pay attention to our website, and as soon as we know anything, we will post it on that website. There are something called SAT2 subject exams. If a school requires that, such as an Ivy League, they generally will ask you to sign up for 3. You get to pick any 3 you want. So, for instance, if your child is bilingual, you might have them take a subject exam in their second language. Or if they're really good at math, you may have them take a math subject exam. But it is totally the preference of the child. It's not stipulated by the university for which subject exam they sign up for. You sign up for all of that through SAT, which is collegeboard.com. The ACT will be given to your junior in the spring for free from BASHA. Each year we do write a grant, and magically we get money to give the kids a free exam experience. It's always strongly recommended your child takes the ACT a second time after they take it the first time, because then they know the format and they can actually see if they can improve their score. Summer enrichment opportunities. Beginning freshman year, don't be alarmed if you get many, many mailers saying that your student is eligible to join an enrichment opportunity. A lot of times it is quite a lot of wonderful praise. Just take all that with a grain of salt, because most of these are at a high price. So my rule of thumb was always, if I wanted to give my child an experience and I had the extra money, I did it. But if all the money I had to be saved for college, then I only went for the free summer enrichment opportunities. So that is truly a choice that you have. They can include internships, college campus experiences, and it may even offer some college credit for an additional fee. Please note that we do not accept any college credit back onto our transcript, but you are welcome to send any college transcripts from a third college onto the college of your child's choice to see if the college will take them. Awards. We've gotten so many awards at BASH. We have a very large AP department, so do pay attention to our APs. For 3 out of the last 4 years, we've increased our number of AP tests given. We've also increased our scores 75%. So that's pretty big. Some of our teachers are really sought after for the AP classes. So if your child wants an AP class, please have them register for that in the end of January to ensure that they have a good shot at being placed in that class. Helpful hints. So some important things a child should recognize is we don't require any volunteerism to graduate. The volunteerism is needed for the Impact Scholar. It's needed for some scholarships and may be needed for some college entrance, but that's between each college and your student and what their admission site is going to require. But we do recommend that a student learns to be a successful community volunteer, and we recommend 30 hours a year. Please make sure you're documenting it, even if you don't do Impact, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but even if you didn't, on their website they have a really nice sheet that can tabulate all the hours. Every time you go volunteer, that child should be bringing a sheet with them, and at the end of the volunteer time, they should meet with the supervisor for a signature and the time to be documented, and then bring it home. And parents and guardians, I'm hoping that you will keep a 1-inch folder and make sure you're always keeping track of everything for your student, or at least helping them learn how to keep track. I know I had a 1-inch binder on each of my kids. So every time they had an accolade or a club, or they lettered in a sport, or they were, student body president, whatever it was they were going to be, I made sure I kept documentation in my 1-inch binder. Because when it's time to apply for the college, it's really easy to forget what accolades your kids have. Especially at Basha, we have so many phenomenal kids, so help them keep track of this. A spreadsheet is always a great thing. Excel offers different spreadsheets with different worksheets. You can have a worksheet for each year and then type in exactly what they did, print it off so you can always remain on top of it. Keep a list of all summer enrichment opportunities. If you do choose to have your child take any summer enrichment for college credit, make sure you're getting an official transcript from that college, print it and put it in your book so you can send it on to the colleges that your child is going to apply to. Consider taking any courses for grade improvement. Remember, colleges will not recognize a D. If your child fails at any semester time, they must repeat that course or they are off track of graduation. We recommend over the summer, but if the financial stipulations of your household do not include summer school, then they can put that class into their schedule as a 0 hour potentially, or we can add it on to their senior year. If everything goes smoothly, then your seniors would only have to have 4 classes their senior year. So that leaves 2 classes open. A lot of times we have seniors that are just doing grade improvement for those 2 classes, and just making sure the college is aware they're doing grade improvement their senior year. If a child, let's say, has all A's and they get 1 C, please strongly consider repeating that C to keep them at straight A's. Let's see, a resume will be done senior year in senior English class. Students should update that yearly and keep that throughout college. It's really helpful to have that when they're going to apply for colleges because they can send that on to their counselor and it helps us write a stellar letter of recommendation. That's all I have for our presentation. If you have any questions, then this presentation is going to be on our website. It's also going to be on our Google Classrooms, on each of the counselors' Google Classrooms. If you have any questions particularly pertaining to your child, please reach out to your child's counselor because they're going to know your child best. And I hope you can look at this again. I know it's a lot of information, and we'll look forward to having your kids again next year.